Some men walk in packs, chasing validation, belonging, and noise. But the Sigma male walks alone, not because he can't fit in, but because he refuses to shrink himself to do it. The world sees his solitude as loneliness, but he sees it as clarity. While others chase connection, he chases purpose. He's learned that peace isn't found in crowds, it's found in silence. Every step he takes alone sharpens his focus, strengthens his self-control, and frees him from the chaos of conformity. They say walking alone is hard. But for the Sigma, it's not punishment, it's power. This is why Sigma males walk alone, and never regret it. 1. Freedom over familiarity. The Sigma male's independence isn't rebellion, it's release. He's seen what happens when people become trapped by comfort zones, relationships, and groupthink. Familiarity breeds stagnation, and the Sigma refuses to stay stuck in cycles that don't serve his evolution. He walks alone because he values freedom more than approval. When he's by himself, he doesn't need to explain his choices, justify his silence, or compromise his values. He's not bound by anyone's expectations but his own. People call him distant, but he's simply free, free from manipulation, free from routine, free from pretending to fit where he doesn't belong. His solitude isn't isolation, it's a declaration of self-ownership. That's why he never regrets it. Because the cost of losing freedom to fit in is one the Sigma will never pay. 2. Clarity in solitude. Most people fear silence because it forces them to face themselves. But the Sigma embraces it. He knows that clarity can't exist in chaos. So when the noise gets too loud, opinions, distractions, drama, he steps away. In solitude, he hears what truly matters. He begins to think, not react. Feel, not perform. Every hour alone becomes an investment in awareness. He dissects his life, his goals, his mistakes, without interference or influence. While others seek advice from crowds, the Sigma consults his own intuition. His decisions may confuse others, but they make perfect sense to him. That's the advantage of walking alone, his clarity comes unfiltered. He doesn't need a committee to confirm his direction. He just needs silence, and that's something the world can't give, so he takes it himself. 3. The luxury of emotional independence. The Sigma male has learned that dependency is the root of suffering. When your peace depends on others, you'll always be controlled by their moods, mistakes, and expectations. So he builds his emotional world like a fortress, strong, self-sustained, and untouchable. Walking alone isn't about rejecting connection, it's about mastering self-reliance. He can enjoy company without needing it. Love without losing himself. Care without clinging. This independence makes him intimidating. People can't manipulate a man who doesn't need them. The Sigma's calm detachment is mistaken for coldness, but it's actually maturity, the kind born from pain, betrayal, and wisdom. He doesn't regret his solitude because it's a shield. It protects him from emotional chaos and allows him to experience life without fear of loss. The Sigma doesn't walk alone because he's broken, he walks alone because he's healed. 4. Escape from herd mentality. The Sigma has watched the herd long enough to understand its pattern, follow trends, seek approval, fear rejection. He's seen people lose their individuality just to belong, and he refuses to become one of them. He walks alone because he values truth more than belonging. While others chase popularity, he chases authenticity. He knows the crowd may offer comfort, but it demands conformity in return. And that's a trade he'll never make. When he's alone, his thoughts are his own. His beliefs aren't borrowed, his choices aren't influenced. He doesn't move because others move, he moves because he's ready. That's what makes him dangerous in the eyes of mediocrity. The Sigma doesn't regret walking alone because he's never truly alone. His purpose walks beside him, his vision lights his path, and his silence echoes with self-respect. 5. Power and selective connection. The Sigma doesn't hate people. He simply understands that not everyone deserves access to his energy. That's why he walks alone until he finds the few who match his frequency, those who respect space, value truth, and bring peace instead of chaos. He's not antisocial, he's discerning. He doesn't collect friends, he builds alliances. His circle may be small, but it's solid. And the only way to find those rare souls is by walking alone first. The Sigma doesn't fear solitude because he knows connection means nothing without alignment. So, he waits. He stays silent. He stays alone until something real appears. That's why he never regrets walking solo, because it teaches him patience, standards, and strength. The world might see him as a loner, but he knows he's simply walking at a higher frequency. 6. The art of quiet observation. When the Sigma male walks alone, he sees what others miss. He's not distracted by gossip, validation, or the noise of social competition. Instead, he observes people, patterns, and psychology. The Sigma knows that real intelligence hides behind silence. While others talk to be heard, he listens to understand. He watches the way people move, the words they choose, the contradictions between what they say and what they do. Every moment alone sharpens his mind like a blade. This quiet observation gives him an edge. He can read rooms, sense intentions, and predict outcomes before they happen. It's not magic, it's awareness, something that only grows when you detach from the herd. The Sigma walks alone not because he's disinterested, but because he's analyzing. Every step in solitude turns into data, about himself, about human nature, about the hidden motives behind every smile. That's why he doesn't regret isolation, it's the classroom where he studies humanity in its rawest form. 7. Growth beyond distraction. A Sigma male's path isn't built for comfort, it's built for evolution. He understands that growth requires space, silence, and sacrifice. When he walks alone, he removes distractions, the endless scrolling, the empty conversations, the meaningless noise. Most people are busy being busy. But the Sigma invests his energy like currency. He spends it on books, building skills, refining his craft, or just thinking deeply about life. While the crowd competes for attention, he competes only with his past self. It's in solitude that he levels up. His confidence doesn't come from others validating him, it comes from seeing his own progress. He trains his mind, body, and discipline while the rest are trapped in endless social loops. This self-improvement mindset is what separates the Sigma from the average man. His solitude is not a void, it's a workshop. Every day alone is a day spent becoming sharper, wiser, more complete. And when he returns to the world, he's not just different, he's unstoppable. 8. The strength to walk away. The Sigma male has mastered one of life's hardest skills, walking away. From toxic people, fake love, dead-end jobs, and shallow friendships, he leaves without looking back. It's not because he's heartless, it's because he values peace over attachment. He understands that staying where he doesn't belong kills him slowly. So he cuts ties when necessary, no matter how much it hurts. Walking alone is the consequence of choosing truth over comfort. While others stay in broken situations out of fear, the Sigma leaves with quiet courage. That's his strength, he's not afraid of the void that follows. He knows that temporary loneliness is better than permanent betrayal. And once he walks away, he never turns around. His path is forward, always. That's why he never regrets walking alone, because every goodbye he said has brought him closer to his authentic self. 9. The peace of being unreachable. In a world where everyone wants to be seen, heard, and followed, the Sigma male finds peace in being unreachable. He doesn't crave attention, he craves peace. He keeps his circle tight, his phone silent, and his presence unpredictable. He understands that the more people have access to you, the more they drain your energy. So he sets invisible boundaries, not out of arrogance, but self-preservation. He disappears often, not to hide, but to recharge. The Sigma's distance confuses people who rely on constant validation. But he doesn't owe explanations. He knows that mystery is power. By staying off the radar, he keeps his focus intact and his energy pure. This peace, of not needing to respond, impress, or perform, is his luxury. He walks alone because solitude gives him something no one else can, control over his own energy. And that's something he will never trade for social approval. 10. Loyalty to purpose, not people. For most, loyalty is about sticking with others no matter what. But for the Sigma male, loyalty begins with purpose. He doesn't walk alone because he hates people, he walks alone because he refuses to be distracted from his mission. He's loyal to his path, his values, and his calling. If someone aligns with that, he welcomes them. But the moment they become an obstacle, he walks away without hesitation. That's why people often misunderstand his detachment. It's not coldness, it's focus. Every great man who changed the world had to walk alone at some point, not out of choice, but necessity. Solitude is the price of vision. The Sigma understands this deeply. He'd rather disappoint others than betray his purpose. Because at the end of the road, it's not who walks beside him that defines him, it's how true he stayed to his direction. That's the reason he walks alone, and the reason he never regrets it. 11. The power of inner silence. Most people can't stand silence, it reminds them of everything they're running from. But the Sigma male has made silence his ally. He knows that real power doesn't come from speaking, it comes from understanding when not to. When he walks alone, he enters a state where thoughts slow down, where emotions reveal their truth. It's in those moments that he finds answers others never hear. The Sigma doesn't need external validation, he listens to his inner voice, the one drowned out by society's noise. His silence confuses the insecure. They mistake it for weakness or shyness. But those who know better, know that silence is where his strength lives. It's where he calculates, heals, plans, and grows. The Sigma's silence is not empty, it's full of power. It's the pause before every great move, the calm before every breakthrough. And when he finally speaks, people listen, because his words carry the weight of someone who's truly thought before speaking. 12. The price of depth. Walking alone comes with a cost, and the Sigma male knows it too well. The deeper you go, the fewer people you find. His mind doesn't operate on surface-level conversations or fake emotions. He's drawn to depth, to truth, to meaning, to reality without filters. That's why small talk drains him and shallow people confuse him. He's wired for intensity, not entertainment. And the deeper he goes into understanding himself and the world, the more isolated he becomes. But that's a price he willingly pays. He knows that the crowd avoids depth because it exposes them. They'd rather live in distraction than face their own emptiness. But the Sigma chooses the opposite, he'd rather feel pain in truth than comfort in illusion. This depth becomes his power. It makes him wise beyond his years, self-aware, and unshakable. People fear being alone because they fear what they'll discover. But the Sigma already faced that darkness, and turned it into strength. 13. The unseen transformation. When the Sigma walks alone, he's not idle, he's transforming. The world doesn't see it happening, but his solitude is the forge where he becomes who he's meant to be. He doesn't announce his goals, post his plans, or explain his absence. He disappears quietly, and when he returns, he's unrecognizable, stronger, calmer, sharper. The Sigma doesn't grow in the spotlight, he grows in the shadows. That's why people often underestimate him. They think he's distant or passive, not realizing that he's building, learning, and evolving in silence. By the time they notice, it's already too late, he's become someone they can't reach anymore. This hidden transformation is why he embraces solitude so fiercely. Every second alone is fuel for his evolution. While others fear being forgotten, the Sigma uses that time to reinvent himself. And when he returns, he doesn't ask for recognition, he just lets his progress speak for him. 14. Freedom from social games. Society is full of invisible games, who's more successful, who's more liked, who's more relevant. But the Sigma male refuses to play. He's seen how people waste their lives trying to win approval from others who are just as lost. He walks alone because he's done with comparison. He doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. The Sigma doesn't chase attention, he attracts it naturally by not caring about it. This detachment is his secret weapon. When people can't control you through validation, they lose power over you. The Sigma's indifference to praise or criticism makes him unpredictable, and that's what keeps him free. He doesn't post for likes, talk for reactions, or act for applause. He does things because they matter to him, not because they'll impress anyone. That's what separates him from the crowd. He doesn't regret walking alone, because in solitude, no one else is writing his story but him. 15. The healing power of distance. The Sigma knows that sometimes, healing doesn't come from fixing what's broken, it comes from walking away from it. When life gets heavy, when betrayal stings, when trust is shattered, he doesn't beg or chase. He simply disappears. Distance becomes his medicine. It gives him time to process pain, rebuild perspective, and regain emotional balance. He doesn't lash out, doesn't seek revenge, he just heals quietly until he no longer feels the wound. People often misunderstand his disappearances as coldness. But it's not detachment, it's self-preservation. The Sigma knows he can't heal in the same environment that hurt him. So he retreats, regains his strength, and comes back stronger, not for others, but for himself. Every scar becomes a lesson, every loss a transformation. And through it all, he remains calm, because he knows walking alone isn't loneliness, it's recovery. The Sigma doesn't regret solitude, because it's where he finds the strength to start again. 16. Detachment from the outcome. The Sigma male has mastered a rare mental discipline, the art of detachment. When he walks alone, it's not out of bitterness, it's because he's learned not to cling to results, people, or expectations. He understands that attachment breeds anxiety. The more you want control, the more life resists. So, he focuses only on what he can manage, his effort, his mindset, his discipline. The rest, he lets go. This detachment makes him appear emotionless, but it's actually liberation. He doesn't chase success, he prepares for it. He doesn't fear loss, he accepts it. Whether it's love, friendship, or ambition, he moves without dependency on how things end. When you no longer need something to validate you, you become unstoppable. That's the Sigma's secret. He walks alone because he's detached from needing anyone to complete his story. His fulfillment comes from self-mastery, not outcomes. That's why he doesn't regret his solitude, because it keeps him focused on growth, not gratification. 17. The hidden confidence of solitude. Confidence, to most people, is loud. It's in how they speak, dress, or boast. But the Sigma's confidence is silent, it doesn't announce itself, it just exists. Walking alone has taught him to rely on himself. He's faced fears, conquered insecurities, and learned how to stand tall without support. When no one's watching, he's still putting in the work. That's where his real power comes from, knowing he can survive and thrive on his own. This inner confidence unsettles people. They can't understand how he's so calm, so composed, so sure, without needing anyone's approval. But that's the difference between confidence and performance. The Sigma doesn't perform confidence, he embodies it. He doesn't talk about what he'll do, he just does it. Solitude taught him that validation fades, but self-trust endures. That's why he walks alone with quiet assurance, not arrogance, but certainty. And he never regrets it, because solitude made him unshakable. 18. The uncompromising standards. The Sigma male doesn't walk alone because he can't find people, he walks alone because he refuses to lower his standards to keep them. He's learned that peace is better than forced company, and solitude is better than fake loyalty. He demands depth, loyalty, and authenticity, qualities rare in today's world. So rather than settle, he chooses silence. Rather than pretend, he chooses distance. These standards make him misunderstood. People think he's impossible to please, but he's not looking for perfection, just honesty. He knows that when you have standards, you lose many people, but you gain yourself. His solitude is his filter, it keeps the unworthy out and the genuine close. That's why he doesn't regret it. Because every time he walks alone, he's choosing quality over quantity, truth over pretense, and self-respect over convenience. 19. Solitude as power, not punishment. For most, solitude feels like exile. But for the Sigma, it feels like elevation. He knows that the world conditions people to depend on society, relationships, technology, but he's broken free. Walking alone isn't punishment for him, it's preparation. It's how he resets, rethinks, and rebuilds. Every hour spent alone recharges his mental and emotional strength. In solitude, he doesn't escape the world, he studies it. He analyzes what others miss, refines his discipline, and grows detached from the chaos around him. The crowd needs stimulation to feel alive, the Sigma just needs peace. That's why solitude isn't his weakness, it's his power source. The silence that breaks others only makes him sharper. He doesn't regret walking alone, because it's in solitude that he becomes the version of himself the world isn't ready for. 20. The legacy of the lone wolf. At the end of the journey, the Sigma male knows something profound: not every path is meant to be walked with others. Greatness, clarity, and mastery often demand solitude. He walks alone, not out of pride, but purpose. His legacy isn't built on noise, it's built on quiet consistency, self-discipline, and inner truth. People may never understand him fully, but that's fine, his life isn't a performance for them. He's the lone wolf, silent, focused, and untamed. His journey is harder, yes, but it's also purer. While others depend on the world to define them, the Sigma defines himself. And when he finally looks back at the road behind him, he feels no regret, only peace. Because every step he took alone was a step toward freedom. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking it and subscribing to the channel. Your support means a lot.